Hey there, amplifiers. Excited to have our guest today. She's a pro when it comes to helping people improve their cash flow, their profitability. She's been doing it for over 20 years. She runs a great accounting team, and it's really exciting to have her here at Growth Amplifiers to share her expertise. I'm sure you can pick up an idea or two to amplify your business. So, welcome to Growth Amplifiers, Tabitha Smith.
Thank you for having me.
Tabitha, pleasure to have you join us and be here today. I would love to kind of just get a little background story of how you got started on your career path and brought you to your business today.
Um, I actually was a freshman in high school and I took my first accounting class and I fell in love. It's a love or hate game. And I fell in love with it. There's 5 rules, so it's very easy. And I'm a stickler for um, stick to the plan. And so that made it very appealing. And I knew I wanted to have my own firm from then on. And everything is kind of revolved around that. I did serve the military for 8 years, and I was a victim of my own success. They loved me in logistics, and I love that. But I really wanted to get back to accounting and finance, and that's not where they needed me at the time. So I went into the civilian world and finally got started on that, and worked a few jobs to learn the hard way that I'm not a great employee, but I'm a rock star entrepreneur. I love it. I love the business game. I love to watch other small businesses grow. And that was just my calling and passion, and it has been ever since. So that's what I do. I started my firm and just trying to help the smaller business owners that don't quite have all the resources to do the best they can.
So you've started your business. Number one, thank you for your service, and it's awesome that you're out there. You tried a different path, and you said, "This is really where I can shine." You started TSAT. Tell us a little bit about when you started that business. What was your vision initially coming into it?
It's changed. I thought that I just loved doing accounting in the beginning. I enjoyed doing the tax work and the accounting work. It got to where I figured out the compliance was not as fun as the business growth and the strategic planning. So I moved into that more. Um, the the vision was to help as many people as possible, but I didn't realize what exactly I wanted to help them with until probably 10 years in. And then I really started to put together my real purpose and passion, and it was to help other people find their version of financial success. Not our version, not a cookie cutter version, but their own personal version, because everybody's different. And I think that was the key, was to experience all the different versions and to be helpful.
And so now you're, as a guy helping people with cash flow and CFO advisor. Um, as you made that transition, as a lot of people out there who may be doing accounting are trying to elevate the value that they provide, what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced, and how did you overcome them?
Um, that for myself, through growth and development, really realizing that I was a teacher that was really good at accounting, not an accountant. So taking that and feeling other people's feelings, understanding their struggles, that's a big thing. Understanding that, yes, there are compliance rules and guidelines, but understanding what a small business owner was going through, having experienced it myself, that was very helpful. I was able to walk through with them, give them the the plan that I had followed or failed many times. So going into what you asked about what were some of the challenges, I've had businesses that failed. I've had some cash businesses that family stole from, that I trusted people and in other businesses, and they took advantage. And um, I have what people would call an attachment disorder. I get attached to people. I genuinely love people, so I want to help them all that I can. I want to pretty much fix them, but I had to learn that you can't fix other people that don't want to be fixed. And it's not your job to fix them. They have to want help. You want to help, not fix. So that was a hard one for me to grow into. Then the challenges of some failures. Even with my accounting firm, we had ups and downs, losing staff or losing clients, um, marketing. Oh, yeah, lots of lessons in marketing. Yes. Uh, just realizing that you have to really enjoy the journey. That's when you get the results, and put yourself in their position of how you would want to be treated, and making it a family or community more than it's a client accountant relationship. So most of our clients have been with us for over 10 years. Some of them the entire time we've been a firm. Yeah, it's great. We put a lot of heart and effort into taking care of them. Sometimes probably too much. And it backfires on us a little bit, but that's okay. We'd rather love and lose than not love at all. So the other thing from the client side would be they are struggling with something, whether it's financial, personal, different things, that you're so busy making sure they're growing, make sure they have the resources they need for their business. You sometimes forget, and you have to remind them too, that everything they do in their personal life affects their business life and vice versa. And that's a big thing in coaching and advising, is making sure that they are feeling supported as a human being,
Mhm.
as the business owner, and not just as another client or part of the workflow of that business. Um, yeah, so those are some points. Just a lot of self development, and then getting the clients to learn about themselves also.
You struck a chord with that first thing. I think it was attachment. Was it attachment theory, or would you call it
Attachment disorder.
disorder? Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
I'll make it a theory. But I know I've struggled with that. I know a lot of coaches that really want to make a difference, advisors that really want to make a difference in people's life. You really care, and you can almost over care, and you can almost be trying more than the person you're trying to help. And it is easy to get caught into that process. And I guess discerning earlier, here's what I'm going to do, my responsibilities, how I'm going to show up, and here's your responsibilities. Here's what you're going to do and how you can show up, and making sure that you're honoring those distinctions. It's really easy to think, I'm going to help more. I'm going to give that person the fish. I'm going to keep on giving them fish, and before you know it, now they're reliant on you giving them fish, right? How did you kind of work through that? As it's, you mentioned it was something that you overcame, and I know people that are still struggling with that, and need to have a better awareness of it. How did you overcome that yourself?
Um, do some leadership training, really focusing on boundaries
Mm,
and setting better boundaries without setting rules. Um, Respect, discussing it, having actual conversations about how we have feelings just like you have feelings. And yes, we're here to do the work, and to help you, but we're also not here for our staff to go home crying because you've manipulated or taken advantage of their kindness. So it just comes back to really having a crucial conversation about boundaries, about you may not realize that you do this, or your staff on the client side makes us feel this way, or we have to go through this challenge to handle this for you. And the communication is just critical. We cannot be scared to discuss those things.
Communication, and a lot of times people may not even realize that their lack of doing something or they're doing something could be causing an issue. And if we're not communicating that and expressing the desire and request for people to potentially change that habit, then we're not leading, right? So I really think that that's important and worth underlining, because a lot of people will kind of put up with our clients aren't doing the things we need them to do, and they kind of give up. They're just like, well, that's just status quo. But you can take some action to influence it, and even if it's not like now everyone's following everything that you ask them to do, small hinges swing big doors, and those little changes over time can have a big impact overall. I know I'm preaching to the choir here. On your website, it's tsataccountingsolutions.com. You've got some great trainings, and you mentioned that you really found that you're a teacher. You like teaching. You're passionate about it. One of the things at Growth Amplifiers we love people to do is kind of productizing their knowledge in such a way where they can either create courses or group programs or train their team to guide people through some of the preliminary steps. How have you worked to take some of that teaching um, that you love to do and integrated that as part of your business model?
Yeah, well, our team does a we don't I don't like meetings, so I call it a session. Everything's a session.
Okay.
So we do an innovation session every Thursday, and that's our team meeting, would be called. We actually focus on leadership, growth, innovation in the team, and things like that I've learned that I, even if it's not pertinent to them, that they can know, so they have the resources if a client was happening, if they pick up the phone for a client, if they're talking to someone out in public, that they're just as knowledgeable as, maybe not as quite as much as I am, but they have the gist and the concept of it. Number one, every leadership program I go through, I put my leaders through the top ladies that run the office, that run the big part of the client work, that do the interactions, that have the interactions with the client.
Hmm.
I want them to have that same training. So we do it together. And the content and the courses that I create, and let me give my content creator director. She takes my content and makes it great. She makes it fun, interactive, not boring. So that's helpful. So she learns by taking my content and having to go through it. And she does the voiceovers and things like that. So she gets a lot of it. But the rest of the team, they are required to go through every training, every content that we create, and at least be familiar with that. And then we discuss it, and we discuss what it means to them, what
Hmm.
it can change for them, or where they can put that in their bank of resources for later. And then we encourage them to go out and be, if they don't feel comfortable being a teacher, also at least sharing with their friends what they feel is something they're positive about, that they feel good about. And most all of the team has gone through the courses and actually implemented some of the courses or the instructions. So it's helpful. They've tried it out.
That's awesome. And what another thing that we kind of jumped through earlier that was awesome is you mentioned some of your clients have been around for 10 years plus, And I know that retaining clients can be challenging in an advisory business. Sometimes, especially with a lot of changes in technology, people can be like chasing the shining objects. They could think, "Oh, now I'm just going to use these free tools that are out there, this automation." What have you? What strategies have you put into place that have helped with that retention and continuing to provide value to those you serve?
We've had some very good conversations with clients where we specifically ask them. So we do site visits every once in a while where we'll go to their site so we can see what they go through, how things work there. And just we take the whole team. We will all show up, we'll schedule it, and we'll all show up and we'll be there and we'll be their big, like their cheerleader. And we make sure we intentionally compliment on things that we like. We take note of things that maybe we want to discuss later of could be better,
Hmm.
but mainly we just give them the attention and they feel seen, heard, and understood. And that helps. And then the communication, being intentional that when we do our advisory sessions or any kind of tax planning or anything that we do with them, that we bring in a piece of what else can we do better for you? We want to be the best for you. We care about you, those kind of things. It's important. You don't have to bombard them with it, but it's not that hard because unfortunately, in the accounting industry, most accountants don't take the time to care. And that doesn't mean they don't care. It's just they're so busy doing the work. And I call it herding the cow, checking off the list, yes. And so they don't stop and say, is there anything else we can do? You've done a really good job at this. How can we help anymore? Or just that complimentary conversation. They really like that. So again, back to communication. And it you have to be intentional because it's very easy to get caught up in the work and getting things done and then taking a vacation or whatever to treat yourself because you work so hard. And we're adamant about taking our time off. Um, so putting that on a calendar that you're going to love bomb someone and picking out which client you're going to focus on and then going through and making sure you're getting everybody you can. So it's an intentional game, intentional strategy.
I I love that idea. It's easy to do, but I did the check the box. I call it check the boxes. You just get so focused on getting the work done that you forget to ask, to check in, to make sure. Hey, when you started working with someone, they were in one situation. Their lives have definitely changed in a period of time. Their challenges, they've got new challenges. They probably have new goals, and if you don't assess, then you might be missing an opportunity to help. I believe a majority of firms could probably multiply their business if they just did a better job of engaging with those they serve, and especially being proactive about it and just making it a priority. Now, on your website, I see that you have a few industries that you specialize in, and I'm a big fan of niching. While a lot of people can help, hey, we could probably help almost everyone. There's a benefit to niching, and could you tell us a little bit about what helped you decide to niche and some of the niches that you're focusing on?
Yes. So our main niche is or niche, depending on what people want to say,
Go back and forth.
is yeah, is the private practice medical industry. So private doctors, dentists, chiropractors, and home health agencies. And when I say private, when they're an employee of a clinic as the doctor, the dentists that are in the big my clinics, my dental practices, they don't have any say. They may treat them as the contractor investor, but they may write it up as a contractor or partner, but they treat them as an employee. So they have little say in what happens to the business overall. There's corporate headquarters that takes care of that. So it's not much we can help with on that. So the private practice is where we can really help because we can get in there and be the CEO, director, the owner. We can be their right hand person and walk them through all the situations they're going through. So that part I really love because we get to be part of the team. The reason I got into the medical, why it really fits, is my mom is a retired nurse. She did nursing for 40 years, and I also get my attachment disorder from her. We love to take care of other people. We're connectors. We're the people that if we have a family party, we want to invite everybody else's family too, because we don't want to leave anyone out. That becomes an issue sometimes, but that's okay. But we love to connect and really be part of the growth. And she's always been that with her patients. She knows their names, she knows their families. And she's usually not one, she wasn't one that jumped around in different areas. When she worked an area, she was there 5, 7 years. And maybe it's cardio or whatever. And so you've got patients that have to come back for recurring checkups and things like that. So she knew them, she took care of them. They were just like her kids. So I've taken a lot of that with me. And the medical I love because she's put in her life into that and it's been very fulfilling. And so I just was attracted to that from the beginning. And then I found that, most doctors and dentists are male. And that typically seems to be most of our client. That's our client avatar, actually, is a male. Not that we can't help a female, but the males tend to appreciate a little more drill sergeant. Tell me what to do. Don't fluff it. Yeah, don't sugarcoat it. And that's kind of my personality. I want to get the stuff done. I want you to succeed. We don't have to have as many emotions if we don't need to get there. And so we kind of just click. And so it's really worked out well. It was by accident that I got it and that I actually started in that niche. My first doctor was still my avatar client. He's passed since, but we clicked, we hit it off, and he liked that. He's like, don't sugarcoat things for me. Tell me because I want it done right and I want to get it done. And I want to be held accountable. They've got to want to be held accountable. That's the key. You can't change someone if they just want to get by. You're not going to be very successful with that in the advising because you can advise, they're going to ask you the same thing over and over. You're going to tell them the answer and they're never going to do it. You're just beating your head against the wall. And personally, I just don't like to take money from people that aren't really in the game with me.
Nobody got time for that.
I
So
nobody got time for that.
last question, because I know there's that is an industry that a lot of people would love to tap into. And I believe there's a lot of people in the health and wellness industry that could use more help, could use a guide to help them see things differently, but they don't know what they don't know, so they may not be looking. So how do you go about finding clients and building new business in that industry?
Well, I'll tell you, that is the hardest part. We're amazing at the work. We're amazing at the client service. The experience, the touch points of when you want to wow them, when you want to follow up with them, when you want to check on them. We've got all that down. We're still working on that. How do you find that good barrel of fish, is what they call it, where you can get in and there's plenty there. They want it. You just got to see if you're a good fit for each other. Really, it goes back to the old school referrals and word of mouth. And it's because there's so much trust that has to be built that it's hard to just see someone on social media and then pick them out that they're the right one. It can happen. We've had some clients that found our Google reviews and they love that we had 15 5-star reviews and that was it. And that's what their choice was. We love that. But that doesn't happen very often. Especially when you're in a smaller area and a little unknown. So what we found is the best is partnerships,
Mm,
um, creating that association with bankers, um, other investment advisors, guys or guys and girls, not just guys, that do those kind of areas. They are already talking about the money and finance, and then they built that trust. And if they trust you, they can bring you in. I'll tell you, 9 times out of 10, the way it happens is I've done something for one of the bankers, or we've done something, set up some books or something for a client, and they really loved it, and they got the SBA loan or whatever they were trying to accomplish. And now you're on their books. You're their next referral. So they're looking for people to hand you to. And that's usually how it happens. And so having those really good connections, um, that community is important. How to grow that more, we're still working on that. Every day we get better. Doing things like this, getting to know people like you, and just asking. That's the number one thing, is asking. What else can we do to help people?
well, I appreciate you sharing a lot of great information that you've learned on your journey. As a parting gift, the tradition we have is if you can think about something that maybe you could share that you've learned on your journey that might help someone on theirs. It doesn't have to be related to anything particular, just something that you'd care to share.
Things that I have had to teach my clients, several different instances and experiences, and I'm using myself. I've had to coach myself, is sometimes you have to sit still, and that is very hard. Sometimes you put in the work, and it seems like you just bombed, and you're just like, what happened? And all you can do is say, no, now what? Well, what do we do? Do we keep pushing? And sometimes it takes longer than you plan. And for me, I have faith that, and my God, that it's going to be taken care of. I'm not in control. So I just have to sit still. And I may not say it in that way to someone else, but it's still the sitting still and just being patient, knowing that you're doing the right thing and that you're working hard, but you're also taking care of yourself, and that eventually the results will show. And sometimes it's not about how fast, it's about how impactful.
I did say that was the last question, but I jumped over one I was supposed to ask. For
It's okay.
those who may be tuned in and want to learn more about who you are and what you do, maybe they're in that industry and would like to get a little fresh perspective, where should they go and what should they do?
We'd love them to come to our website, tsataccountingsolutions.com, and that is TSAT accountingsolutions.com. We're also on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I believe Instagram. Sorry, I don't do that part. But mostly our website has all the information. If you'll look on there, we have our team on there. We have our team superheroes. If you hover over our pictures, you can see who we dream as our superhero, who matches our personality or our alter ego. And it's just really fun. Um, we enjoy what we do, and we want to grow our community, and we want to give back. So
Awesome. Well, thank you for your time, for being the amplifier that you are. And I'd be curious to know, if you're tuned in and listening to this, what is an aha moment that showed up for you from what you've heard today? Share that in comments. That would be greatly appreciated. And as always, keep on amplifying. Thank you so much.
thank you.
To show your support, take a moment to amplify this message by sharing it online. To connect with me or gain more business growth insights, visit www.growthamplifiers.com. Thank you for your support.